everybody else. Even if you're not 100% sure where the end goal is, have an idea of who you are, who God has created you to be, right? Put some stock, put some value into that self-reflection, and then work on that. And sometimes you just have to embrace you and embrace your personal journey. Don't look too far out to the left and to the right and try to compare your journey to other people, but just embrace your journey. There's a story in the Bible of the Israelites. It's a nation of people that God has chosen as His people, right? He has placed His name on them. He has really taken investment into their journey. These are the very same people that were descendants or are descendants of Abraham. This very same person that God said He was going to do something new in his life and He was going to make him a father of nations. These are those people. So years later, hundreds of years later, right? What God has started in one person has flourished into a nation of people. And these people were in slavery for 400 years. They were in slavery for 400 years because of a few mistakes that they made and decisions that they made that weren't too pleasing to God. So God allowed them to take the repercussions of their decisions, right? So they ended up in slavery for 400 years, and over 400 years, and they finally got out. God brought them out of slavery using Moses. If you know the story, they had to get away from Pharaoh. There were plagues that happened to try to convince Pharaoh to release them. And finally, they were able to leave and cross the Red Sea. And now they are in this desert. They are back on the very same journey that God originally sent Abraham on. The journey to Canaan, the place of promise, the place of destiny. When God told Abraham, I'm going to send you to a place that you've never been, that you never heard of. He was talking about Canaan, and that very same promise He continued to give to Abraham's descendants, his children, the Israelites. So they're back on this journey. They're in the desert, and they hit a moment where things get a little bit too difficult for them. They've been through, they had to fight some wars at this time. They've had some people died along the way. It's a whole nation of people right in the desert, and they hit a moment where they feel like they are starving. God has been providing food for them on the daily, but they got to a place where they were like, this is not it. I thought we were going to make it to this place of destiny, this place of promise, this place where we would flourish and be happy. We are not here yet. I want to go back. They came to a conclusion that said we would be better off back in Egypt, back in slavery, than being out here taking this journey to a place that we have never been. And a lot of us get to this moment where we are put to the test, right, of whether or not we really want what we want, whether we really want better for ourselves, or are we willing to settle? A lot of us will say, I'm willing to embrace the devils that I know, rather than taking a journey and facing some new challenges to make it to a place that is potentially better than where I've been, right? A lot of us say, this might be better if we go back, and this might be, I'd rather put my might, my strength, my thoughts towards the future and future goals, rather than putting my maybes and my mights into the past, which I know there is no fruit there. There is no enjoyment there. I was not happy there. I was content. Maybe I was satisfied sometimes. Yeah, maybe I had moments where, I smiled sometimes. I met some great people, but I have the potential to experience life bigger than that. I'd rather take that journey than settle for going backwards. Don't go back. You've already taken the steps to move forward in life. Do not go back. You were not happy back there. You may have been satisfied. Maybe your bills might have been paid. Maybe your kids, and you may have had a good relationship. Maybe life wasn't as hard as the journey. But if you make it through the journey, you'll make it to the promise. You'll make it to the destination. Don't go back. There's a scripture that says, after you've gone through the fire, that you will come out like pure gold. If we go back to the concept of baking a cake, you've got some messy moments, things got a little ugly, you had to beat some things up, whatever may have you, put all those ingredients together, and now you are presented to the fire. Now, if you were a cake, you wouldn't have a choice. Whoever's in control would just shove you right in the oven, and you'd have to go through that journey. But because we have this awesome ability to make choices for ourselves, we get to the point where we are finally tested. Everything that's inside of us is finally tested. And a lot of us will get fearful and get nervous, and we will pull back from the fire rather than embracing that fire. Right? Rather than be tested and proven, we will shy away from the test and never find out if what we have inside of us can actually come out to become anything of worth or value. Right? Embrace the fire. At this point, like, you weren't happy before, at least there's a potential that if you go through the fire, you will come out better than you were before. I'd rather take the fire. I'd rather take the journey of the cake. I'd rather take the journey of the Israelites. I'd rather take that journey knowing that I've tried, right? And even if I come out a little burnt, somebody will enjoy it. Somebody will enjoy me. The cake will enjoy the fruits of my labor, right? I think that's the mindset that I'm kind of leaning on in this moment, is that a lot of parts of my life have come together, and I have a whiff of the potential to enjoy this cake or the fruit of my labor. I have a whiff of life bigger than what I've experienced before. I'm willing to go to the fire to see if I can come out like pure gold. But because the person that is putting me in the fire, his thoughts towards me are for good and not for evil, I'm confident at this point that he is going to watch over me to make sure I don't get burned. I'm confident at this point in my life that he will watch over me to make sure that I'm going to come out like pure gold. I'm confident at this point in my life, right? If nothing else, I'm confident at this point in my life that he will watch over his word to bring it to completion. That the very same God that was faithful to start a new work will bring it to completion. Yeah, don't go back.